Hey, how's it going today? I'm Skitty Beans, and today we're going to be watching something. I think it's going to be really dark. It's the experiment that broke a dolphin's heart, and it's from Casual Geographic, our favorite. And I think this is going to be very sad and heartbreaking and probably traumatizing, but it sounded interesting to say the least. I know we give dolphins a bad rap and everything like that, but this one seems like the other side of it of, maybe researchers not being the best, I guess, in the dolphins' interest. So it it caught my attention. So here we are. If you get a chance, I would appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe. It would help me out a bunch. And I have Casual Geographic's video linked in my description below, so be sure to give him a subscribe and watch his videos, like his videos, because we really like him over here. All right, well, let's do this.
This video was sponsored by absolutely no one, because no one in their right mind would sponsor this.
Oh God.
Well, butterfly on a corn cob, I see that I've romanticized a wild animal the same way Margaret Howe did when she off that dolphin in the 1960s. Both she and I assaulted a captive creature, then expected it to be reciprocal. Well, joopity boop, time to die.
Oh.
You know, we've done some really questionable things in the name of science, like that time legitimate attempts at a human Z were made, or that time a psychologist raised a chimp and a human baby.
A human Z? What? To create such a hybrid were made. A human Z, also known as a human manpansy or chumancy. Oh my God, I didn't even know this was a thing. It was in the 1920s and possibly by researchers of the People's Republic of China in the 1960s. Neither succeeded. Oh my goodness. It's a hybrid between males and other apes. Oh my God. That seems like such a bad idea. Oh, geez.
Legitimate attempts at a human Z were made, or that time a psychologist raised a chimp and a human baby together to see what would happen. We're gonna get back to that.
How? Oh my God. Somehow I feel like this could have either gone okay or horribly, horrifically bad. I don't know. I don't know about that one either.
Or that time a psychologist raised a chimp and a human baby together to see what would happen. We're gonna get back to that, but the answer is nothing good.
Oh, no.
And of course, that time we gave dolphins acid and hand service, all for a very questionable science project.
Wait, acid enhance. Oh my God. Oh God. Okay. Well, we're in it. We're in it now.
You see, the 60s were a special time. America and the Soviet Union were in the midst of a meat measuring contest all the way up into space, and at the same time, there was a question as to whether humans could learn to communicate with animals as well as we do with each other. And renowned neuroscientist John C. Lilly fully took on the task of trying to bridge the gap between the man and animal language barrier.
Okay, so like at face value, this doesn't seem so bad, right? Like, I mean, like that would be pretty cool, right? If we could like all communicate, like humans could communicate with animals and vice versa. Like at face value, I feel like it is cool. It is definitely like a cool thought, a cool theory, whatever. But I don't know about the execution. That seems like some real weird shit's gonna go down here. I could be wrong.
John C. Lilly fully took on the task of trying to bridge the gap between the man and animal language barrier. Now, I mentioned his job to show you he wasn't just some acid-dropping self-stereotype of the 60s. Don't get me wrong, he was, but he was also a contributing member of the scientific community. In fact, he was the one who invented sensory deprivation tanks.
Oh, I've heard about those. Those seem like those are pretty crazy. Have any ever tried one? I don't know. I don't even know if there's a place where, like, I guess if I wanted to, I could go try it. I don't know. I don't know. It kind of freaks me out, though.
which he did acid in. Anyway, he was interested in
wow.
possible human-animal communication, but also in animal intelligence. And that's how dolphins got an invite to this party. At the time, John Lilly saw them as the smartest things on the planet that weren't human. And as a neuroscientist, he was especially drawn to the dolphin's brain. Not
This is like a human brain, a rhino brain for some reason, and a dolphin brain. I mean, a dolphin brain's pretty big. Pretty big. The rhino brain is pretty big too, but yeah, I mean, I guess if we're going by size, you know, dolphins had a pretty good sized melon in there.
Not only do cetaceans have the largest brains of any animal, bottlenose dolphins have a brain 4 to 5 times larger than what you would expect for an animal their size. But what really made Lilly Eureka himself was while he was observing and researching dolphins and talking to himself, he realized that the dolphins seemed like they were imitating his voice. And that convinced him that the dolphins were trying to speak to him. And
was he on acid while he was figuring this out? I'm like, I'm not trying to joke, but like at the same time, it's, I don't know. I mean, like, were we sober when we thought this? I'm just, you know, just a question.
Seemed like they were imitating his voice, and that convinced him that the dolphins were trying to speak to him. And with their high intelligence, John C. Lilly figured that if we could somehow find a way to communicate with dolphins, that could lead to us finding a way to talk to aliens, which was an
that would find okay, that's an interesting tangent that we went off. Okay, fair enough. Dolphins, aliens, okay.
Olympic gymnast level stretch, but hindsight's 2020, and unfortunately this was the 1960s. Either way, depending on how you look at it, this was both the best and worst thing that ever happened to his career. The implication of extraterrestrial communication convinced NASA and other government agencies to sponsor Lilly financially. With the help of anthropologist Gregory Bateson, John C. Lilly would create the Dolphin House, where he would
I mean, that's pretty impressive, but he caught the attention of NASA and stuff and the government. I mean, that's impressive.
Attempt to learn how to speak to dolphins. That's how the experiment started, but you don't want to hear about that. You want to get to the part where we started slipping dolphins acid. Oh, trust me, we're gonna get to that, just bear with me. The Dolphin House was built in the US Virgin Islands, and you're gonna see why that was actually very ironic. It's like having a gay friend on Dick Street. That's not a joke, by the way. When I went to college, there was a
like having a gay friend on Dick Street. Oh boy.
Very ironic. It's like having a gay friend on Dick Street. That's not a joke, by the way. When I went to college, there was a gay fraternity located on DIX Dick Street. That is a true story. So in this experiment, there were 3 dolphins. There was Sissy, the big sister and leader of the group, Pam, the shy introvert, and a young immature male named Peter. And again, given the circumstances, that name would be so ironic you'd swear it was part of a sick joke. But there was another key character to this story, and that was a Miss Margaret Howe Lovett. Margaret never had any formal scientific training, but apparently she was a natural at observing and documenting animal behavior. So they brought her in and had her work with the one male dolphin, Peter, since he was the only one out of the 3 that never had any human sound training. So Margaret's goal would be to teach Peter how to speak English the same way a mother would to her child.
This seems like not a good idea. You have somebody who's not an expert just because she's, I don't know, good with animals. I mean, there's lots of people that are good with animals. That doesn't mean that everybody's qualified to be a researcher, right?
So Margaret's goal would be to teach Peter how to speak English the same way a mother would to her child. She would slowly count to 3 and have Peter repeat after her. She'd say all the vowels in the alphabet and try to get Peter to mimic her.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, wow. Why won't she learn dolphin? I've been teaching her for weeks. Right? I don't know. I mean, like, it sounds really cute, but since they're using their blowholes, right? Like, I don't know. That seems kind of like seems pretty rough on them.
1, 2, 3. You can do better, Peter.
And on some level, this made sense since mimicry is how baby dolphins learn how to dolphin from their mothers. But here's the thing with dolphins. In the wild, they communicate with each other through a series of clicks, squeaks, and whistles, and most of that's in the water. But to talk to humans through air, the dolphins would have to make noises through their blowholes. It's like if I challenge you to speak perfect English, but without using your mouth. So for anatomical reasons, Peter was pretty much screwed.
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. I mean, those are 2 different ways to communicate that they use, right? So if he's, like, two different things that we're trying to do to Peter, right? Like we want Peter to talk like a human, but yes, he was his blowhole, but that's not going to work for him, or like, I mean, not well, and it's probably not good for him, I would assume. I don't know, but no one caught on to that part of it. Maybe I don't know. That just all of this seems like a bad idea.
But without using your mouth. So for anatomical reasons, Peter was pretty much screwed. Figuratively, the literal is coming.
Oh.
Like Peter. I'll say one thing though, say what you want about Margaret, but she was committed. She painted her face white and her lips black so Peter could see the shape and movement of her mouth while she was making the noises so he could try to replicate that with his blowhole. She also decided to move in with Peter full time to maximize her time with him. And
I mean, that is some dedication. She moved in so she could be with Peter 24/7. I mean, that is quite a level of dedication, I would say. This painting of the mouth thing is interesting. I mean, it's definitely a very interesting approach to, I guess, trying to get Peter to make his blowhole make the right shapes for the right noises. But I don't know. It just, something about this just doesn't seem okay to me, I guess. I don't know. I just have this like weird feeling like something ain't right. Like something ain't right with this.
that with his blowhole. She also decided to move in with Peter full time to maximize her time with him. And slowly, Peter was actually getting better at mimicking her.
August 18, this is the morning lesson with Peter.
Hello. Hello.
I mean that's pretty good. I mean, he's doing pretty good with it. It sounds really cute, but I don't know. Like it's cute, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of cruel.
Hello.
Which made John C. Lilly Eureka himself for the second time. News about this Dolphin English project got out and people were curious, and John C. Lilly was seen as a visionary. It even got the attention of world-renowned astronomer Carl frickin' Sagan. The frickin' is silent. Now I'd like to point out that at this point this was a several thousand if not $1 million NASA-funded experiment. Like people's careers and reputations were hanging on this.
I mean, that sounds outrageous, especially for the 60s if you had like a multi-million-dollar research program going. I mean, I would say that's probably like a pretty huge deal, because I don't know, a multi-million dollar research in the 60s. I don't know. I mean, I guess in my brain, that seems like that's a pretty big deal.
Yet nobody stopped to think that it might be physically impossible for dolphins to produce the sounds needed to speak English, especially from an air anus on its head. And keep in mind, John C. Lilly
an air anus on his head. I don't know why that took me a second. Oh gosh.
Needed to speak English, especially from an air anus on its head. And keep in mind, John C. Lilly was a neuroscientist. One of the professions you pray your siblings or cousins never get, because then your parents will never let you forget it. And apparently there was some disconnect. Gregory Bateson was like, why are we teaching them English when we should be learning how they speak to each other? He even had the idea.
Oh yeah, right? I mean, see, like that makes sense. But, I'm guessing people told him to, shut the duck up about it, right?
Gregory Bateson was like, why are we teaching them English when we should be learning how they speak to each other? He even had the idea of putting 2 dolphins in 2 tanks where they couldn't see each other but could communicate through sound. That way we could study the sound and figure out dolphin language. Lilly's response was, nah, we teach them English.
Yeah, same. Like I just had a feeling, because it's cooler to teach dolphins English, right? Instead of trying to figure out how they talk to each other. I don't know. People are wild sometimes, or I guess dead set on one thing, and like maybe you should, like, it's okay to step back and like reevaluate your research sometimes. And it seems like some people get really stubborn.
Could study the sound and figure out dolphin language. Lilly's response was, nah, we teach them English. Naked mole rats spend their entire lives using their teeth as shovels underground, and even they have less tunnel vision. And ironically,
I mean, that is a good comparison. That is a good comparison right there.
Snake and mole rats spend their entire lives using their teeth as shovels underground, and even they have less tunnel vision. And ironically, they might have actually had better luck if they used an animal like a raven or a parrot or even a seal. You know,
Oh yeah, right. That's actually true too. Yeah, they probably would have had a way better success with if had they chosen maybe like a more land-based animal as opposed to one that's in the water. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess overall you have a lot of options, right? Probably as far as like smart animals go, whether it's in the water or it's on land. So why not choose a better candidate to begin with? Like why? I mean, I understand dolphins are smart, but there's plenty of smart animals, right? So seems like an odd choice, I guess.
animals that are actually capable of mimicking human speech.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's pretty cool. He sounds like a little gangster.
But I guess dolphins were the hill to die on. So Margaret and Peter kept on with the lessons, but soon there would be another problem. Peter was a young, sexually immature male with the attention span of one. So how do you get a hormonal teenager going through puberty to listen to you? Yep, we finally made it to that part. So whenever Peter would get distracted, Margaret would send him downstairs to play with Pam and Sissy. But dolphins can mate several times a day, if not an hour, and the constant disruptions were starting to slow their progress down. So Margaret figured she could kill two birds with one stroke. Stroke.
No, she did not. No, she doesn't. What? No. No, she doesn't. No. Oh my God. I can't. Oh, wow. This seems. Oh, if he is insinuating what I think he is, this is wrong on like so many levels. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Okay.
Two things happened after that. Peter got a job he never applied for, and after that, the only virgin on the premises was the very island itself, playing
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. I don't even know what to say to this. This doesn't seem okay. Like at all. For any reason. I my brain has now like been like traumatized, I think. Yep. Yeah. I can't imagine this. And I don't know why she would even go there as a solution. Like, I don't know, sometimes you just gotta have some patience when you have adolescent animals, right?
job he never applied for, and after that, the only virgin on the premises was the very island itself. Playing tug-of-war with Little Peter meant Margaret had more time to teach Big Peter English, and as a
Oh my God, I can't. This poor dolphin.
island itself. Playing tug-of-war with Little Peter meant Margaret had more time to teach Big Peter English, and as a species that often uses decapitated fish, I'm sure Peter wasn't complaining. So now Margaret had a full-time job teaching Peter English while also learning anatomy and chemistry part-time. But patience was starting to run thin because there was another thing a group of scientists somehow never thought of. You could teach a dolphin how to speak English, but that doesn't mean he'll understand any of it because mimicry isn't comprehension.
Oh yeah, that is true too. That's a good point, yeah. Just because he's like saying something back to you doesn't mean he understands it. That is a good point.
Pretentious dude in the bar can say E equals MC squared, ask him what it actually means, and watch how fast his face falls. What started as an experiment to learn to communicate with a highly intelligent non-human creature quickly devolved into an R-rated game of Simon Says, except with more hand service and drugs. And now we're at that part of the story. You see, at this point, John Lilly was under a lot of pressure. Unlike Peter, financial backers had started to pull out, and Gregory Bateson, who was already skeptical to begin with, was now starting to seriously wonder just how far they were willing to go for science. Soon he'd get his answer, just not the one he wanted. Like I said, the 60s were a different time, and around this time, a fun little thing known as lysergic acid diethylamide was quickly gaining traction as a potentially mind-altering, conscious-expanding substance. John Lilly would frequently participate in the consumption of a little slice of delight, which he would take while in the sensory deprivation tank. It's not like he was a stranger to such activity. John Lilly wrote his first book, Man and Dolphin, over the course of one weekend while off amphetamines.
Oh my goodness, okay. I mean, the 60s were a wild time, right? It's like all free and love and drugs and all that stuff. I mean, to be fair though, there's a lot of good music that came out of the 60s. I also think that fashion wise though, the 60s were the ugliest. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know. Every time I see a lot of like 60s theme like clothing or anything, I honestly think that was the ugliest. In my opinion, and it's not any shade or hate though. It is just an opinion I have.
So when he hit a roadblock in his research, Lily was desperate, and his Hail Mary, let's give dolphins LSD and see what happens. Margaret wasn't having any of that and demanded that he keep that nonsense away from Peter, but at the time Margaret was basically a 24-year-old intern and John C. Lilly was still the big-time scientist.
I mean, okay, so as much as I don't agree with her doing things to Peter like that, I do have to commend her for trying to protect him, at least by not giving him drugs. I can give credit where credit's due. I mean, like, props to her for trying to protect Peter from not being on acid too. I mean, but I do condemn her for, you know, being a dolphin, you know, stroker. That doesn't seem okay either.
And like I said, hindsight's 20/20 and logic had real estate in his blind spot. So John took Peter along with Pam and Sissy on a lovely Saturday drive and recorded what happened. And apparently, nothing. Dolphins might have been slightly noisier, but pretty much nothing to record. Lily was beyond down bad and he was desperate for a response, and he knew that dolphins have an incredible sense of hearing. So he got out a jackhammer, because at this point I don't think this was even about dolphins anymore. I think
that sounds like that's like torture at that point. Wait, so they're on acid and then he gets out a jackhammer and then what? Like, that's gonna like stress them out, isn't it? This seems absolutely terrible. All of this whole story is just twisted. Oh my gosh.
he just wanted to do acid. And this was the 60s, it's not like you needed an excuse for that kind of thing. So John Lilly pulled out a jackhammer and just started jacking away, an activity I'm sure that room had seen more than enough of. And the noise didn't seem to do anything but probably ruin whatever trip the dolphins were on.
Right? I don't know. That just seems like that's totally unproductive. I don't know. Like, I don't know what that even contributes to this. You know, it just seems, or like, it just seems totally unnecessary.
At this point, Gregory Bateson had seen more than enough. Remember how I said he started to wonder how far they were willing to go? Well, apparently his line in the sand was giving dolphins a little sense of direction. If the experiment was a train and science was the tracks, at this point this thing was halfway down the Pacific, so he packed up and left. It was kind of wraps for the entire experiment after that. At one point, Lily tried communicating with the dolphins telepathically, so safe to say the acid had won.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So maybe if you're a researcher, maybe lay off the drugs, you know, like maybe they don't go hand in hand as much as maybe people thought it did, because this is wild.
And as the experiment was called off and the staff separated, the dolphins were shipped out. So here's where a lot of the facts got left out for the sake of the story. So it's popular belief that after the experiment ended and Peter was separated from Margaret, he proceeded to die of a broken heart and from horny. Now part of that is probably true. Let's just put it this way, Peter had gotten used to getting a special job every day, and he went from that to being painfully unemployed. Forget unemployed, bro was in a recession. And there's the fact that Peter very likely caught feelings for this woman that he had been around 24/7. But here's the part people leave out. Peter was shipped out to a former bank building in Miami to live. His new home was a tight, cramped tank that he could barely turn around in with little, if any, natural light. Also,
oh my god, that is terrible. That is so sad. So not only was he just like a, I don't know, pet project of some sort that was like really kind of like heinous, but now he's in a tank that's probably, I don't even know, 100 times too small for him. Oh my gosh. So it just gets worse. Poor Peter.
think of how bad public bathrooms smell, and then imagine an animal that uses the bathroom 5 times more than any human. So yeah, Peter got effed over, only this time it was completely figurative. Another fact about dolphins is they aren't involuntary breathers like us. Every breath they take is a conscious choice. It's why dolphins can only sleep by resting half their brain at a time, otherwise they would just not breathe and flatline themselves. We know this because when John Lilly operated on dolphins to observe their brain and put them under anesthesia, the dolphins ended up suffocating. So Peter made the executive decision to delete himself, likely due to depression.
Oh my god, that is so heartbreaking. He just had enough. I mean, after all that, and then being separated, and then getting put in a tank that was not made for him and was not fit for him. He just was like, all right, I guess I'll just see myself out. That is absolutely just, that's devastating. That is so sad.
Margaret didn't do much better, because when Hustler magazine found out about her and Peter and what she did to Peter, they wrote a story on her, and let's just say it wasn't a good look.
Oh no, they probably dragged her ass through the mud with this, you know? Because I'd imagine this was, I mean, like even now, I mean, if somebody did this now, it would be like a huge deal, you know? So I can only imagine in the 60s, like how much of like a weird thing this would have been if like for the media to get a hold of. Oh gosh.
Also, did I mention she never got paid for this? Like, imagine your entire legacy, like,
She never got paid? What? That seems crazy. I mean, I guess technically what she got room and board, maybe. Like, I mean, I guess because she lived with Peter, right? But they probably fed her. But still, that doesn't mean you should not pay her. That's pretty, that ducked up.
wasn't a good look. Also, did I mention she never got paid for this? Like, imagine your entire legacy, like what you're gonna leave on this earth was that you had relations with a wild animal and didn't even get paid for it. So I guess both she and Peter got screwed.
Yeah, literally and figuratively, I guess, kind of. Oh my God. What a dark story this is.
Peter's death wasn't even the last time something like this would happen. Kathy was a dolphin who played Flipper, and once the show ended and she was moved to an isolated pen, she too would proceed to cross her name off the census. Maybe
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. Oh, I mean, I guess I probably shouldn't look into it about what happens to like famous animals, right? Because I probably don't want to know what the aftermath was of them. But that's sad though. I hate that. I hate like when animals are sent somewhere else and it's just like and it's so bad for them. I don't know. It's kind of heartbreaking to hear.
it's a good thing we never learned how to talk to dolphins, because I imagine they wouldn't have much positive to say. They'd probably call John Lilly their Hitler. Speaking of him, he continued to experiment, but when a light seasoning of dope became illegal, he started doing ketamine. And
Oh my God. Okay. So he just, he's just doing it all. Okay. Jesus.
like I said, we've done some sick things for science. Like when psychologist Winthrop Kellogg decided to raise his human baby son alongside a female chimp named Guada. See what would happen. What happened was his human son started acting feral, walking on all fours, grunting like Gua, and even biting people.
Oh, so I see. I thought something was gonna be with the chimpanzee, but it was his baby. Oh, okay. I don't know. What do you do in that situation? I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe if he's young enough, I guess you can like separate him and, you know, try to fix him. But oh, that's wild.
Was his human son started acting feral, walking on all fours, grunting like Gua, and even biting people. When the experiment ended and they sent off the female chimp that they had raised as a daughter to be used in more experiments, Gua would flatline to pneumonia a couple months later, and the boy she was raised with, Donald, would grow up to be a psychiatrist, until he would also delete himself at the age of 43. So I guess the
Oh my gosh, at 43, that's so young. Oh wow. So they both had a bad ending. I don't know. Oh gosh. I don't know. Research on animal things, I think back, kind of, I mean, even before the 60s, I guess maybe, I don't know. Everything seems like it's so crazy. And I mean, I understand that knowledge wise, like we know so much more now, but it's just like when you look back at it, it just seems like it's pretty heinous.
Donald would grow up to be a psychiatrist, until he would also delete himself at the age of 43. So I guess the theme of this video is sometimes science goes way too far. And as groundbreaking as it was, it somehow wouldn't be the last time someone publicly had relations with a dolphin. Like this man had an entire relationship with a dolphin named Dolly that he claimed seduced him. Only different.
What? Hold on. What? Wait. No. Oh God.
Dolphin. Like this man had an entire relationship with a dolphin named Dolly that he claimed seduced him. Only difference was they went way past handwork, and to my knowledge, no substances were involved. Now, in fairness,
I don't. I mean, I just can't. My brain cannot wrap I cannot wrap my brain around, you know, feeling like you are seduced by an animal, or thinking that you should, you know, help a Peter out. It just, I don't know. I don't know. My brain cannot grasp this one. That's for sure.
The difference was they went way past handwork, and to my knowledge, no substances were involved. Now, in fairness to him, he did have to deal with some pretty heavy trauma as a kid, namely when he was violated by a psychiatrist at the age of 5, according to a
Oh, okay. So like, I mean, like, okay, not okay. I'm not trying to excuse like the activities that he has had with a dolphin, but I do kind of have sympathy for him if he had a pretty like traumatic childhood like that, especially like if he was seeing a psychiatrist. Obviously something is going on with him, and then to be violated in that kind of situation, I can only imagine maybe like what kind of damage could come from that, whether it be, I guess in this case, maybe being more, I don't even know, like is it an attraction to the dolphin, or is it because maybe he feels safer with the dolphin or like more comfortable? I don't know, but like how that transforms into more intimate feelings, I still can't quite grasp that one though.
to deal with some pretty heavy trauma as a kid, namely when he was violated by a psychiatrist at the age of 5, according to a podcast he was on that I watched. Speaking of which, like the video.
Yes.
Like the video. I watched it and that was not pleasant. And I
I bet it wasn't. I bet it wasn't. Man, I hope Casual Geographic gets a hug every day for the stuff that he goes through for us. Okay, we we have to give him so much credit, and just, oh gosh, he deserves a hug every day, I think. So I don't know. Be sure to go subscribe to him, because look at what he's doing for us. It's wild.
like the video. Like the video. I watched it and that was not pleasant. And I get that different people cope in different ways, but did it really have to involve backdooring a dolphin? Like, how would you even like logistically, how would you even get the pieces to
Oh yeah. See, like I'm not, I can't even go there even. Like I can't even go there. But that is true too. That is a very fair point as well. But that is, but yeah, like how I mean, I understand like people that have bad things that happen to, sometimes they get a little weird, or they become kind of shitty people in their own right, like lots of things happen. But um this this conclusion, as far as we are incorporating dolphins into our lives like intimately, I don't know. I just don't know. It's this one's kind of mind-boggling to me.
No, we're not even going down that rabbit hole. Because he might try to go in there too. Now, Lily's experiment was famous for all the wrong reasons, but it did have some positive effects. A lot of what we understand about the intelligence of dolphins and cetaceans in general came from his work, and it really helped shift the public perception of them. That shift is likely what led to the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972.
Okay. So, I mean, at least we can see some good that came from all of this, like, just craziness.
Lily would also go on to campaign against the use of dolphins in captivity, which was pretty admirable. But at the same time, like, bro, you gave dolphins acid. You get no more talk time after that.
That's true too. That is true too. I mean, like we can have good, and we can have, no more, absolutely. I totally agree with him.
However, a lot of people see this project as a massive waste of time and resources. I disagree. The point of the experiment was to see if dolphins could learn to speak English, and now thanks to him, we know they can't. Because drunk history said it best. You wouldn't just kidnap a Japanese man and keep him from his family and give him hand service that he didn't ask for and a little surprise dose that he definitely didn't ask for and suddenly expect him to start belting out fluent English. But that's gonna do it.
I mean, that is a very good analogy. That is very true. Had we listened to the other guy and been like, hey, how do they communicate with each other, instead of being like, oh, well, duck off, we're gonna teach it English, maybe I don't know, maybe we know more. But I guess, that's neither here nor there at that point, right? Because, we'll never know that side of it.
do it for this video. For more consistent content, be sure to follow my Instagram and TikTok. I try to post daily on both. And if you would like to further support this channel, my Patreon's also going to be in the description. Because let's be real, ain't no way YouTube finna let me monetize this. Either way, drink water, hug your mother, don't hug a dolphin, because apparently it could lead to more than you're equipped to deal with. And I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, well, that was great. That was a really good one. I mean, as traumatizing as it was, you know, traumatizing, dark, crazy, twisted, horrific. I mean, really all of the above. I mean, it was still, I mean, this is still a good video, and it is kind of fascinating to kind of see what research was kind of like maybe for animals back in the 60s and obviously earlier with the chimpanzee and the baby, but it was pretty dark though. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty dark, and I feel really bad for Peter and for the dolphin that played Flipper. I mean, both of those both of those are really sad, and I don't know, this is very sad, but it was very interesting at the same time, and I gotta give him credit. I mean, like, this was a good video. It was good. So be sure to go and subscribe to him and thank him for this, because I'm sure he endured some shit while he was researching this one. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.